There are cases that get dismissed too quickly, and then there are cases that refuse to disappear. This is one of them. Today, we're not looking at a single sighting, we're looking at a pattern that spans decades, continents, and technology that shouldn't exist. It begins in Switzerland, 1970s. A man named Billy Meier. I'm Matt Tones, and welcome to the second episode of UFO to UAP, the Disclosure Report. Today's episode is titled The Sphere Connection, Billy Meier, Telemetry Systems, and the Buga Sphere. Today's episode revisits one of the more controversial figures in UFO history, Billy Meier, but with a specific focus, not on his broader contact claims, but on a single technical concept, telemetry spheres, and how that concept compares to a modern case that is gaining attention, the Buga Sphere. Let's begin with Meier. Operating in Switzerland during the 1970s, Meier claimed ongoing contact with non-human intelligences and documented these interactions through photograph, film, sound, and written accounts. His case has been widely disputed. However, within his material is a consistent technical description that stands apart from the rest. The use of small spherical devices deployed independently of larger craft. Meier described these as metallic spheres, capable of silent hovering, controlled externally, used for data collection and transmission. Specifically, he claimed these spheres captured visual and audio information, which was then transmitted back to the primary craft in real time. In modern language, this aligns with a remote telemetry system, not a standalone vehicle, but a node within a larger network. For decades, this idea remained uncorroborated until we begin to examine modern spherical UAP cases. One of the most discussed is the Buga Sphere observed in Colombia. Unlike many UAP reports, the Buga case has drawn attention not just from the sighting itself, but for claims of physical analysis. According to publicly circulated reports and interviews, the Buga Sphere has been described as a metallic orb with smooth, uniform surface, no visible seams, propulsion, or aerodynamic structures, capable of stable hovering and controlled movement. More significantly, some groups analyzed the object have made the following claims. First, if we look at material composition and the resin layer, the reports suggest the sphere includes an outer layer or internal components comprised of a resin-like material. In some analyses, this material has reportedly undergone carbon dating, with claims indicating an age inconsistent with recent manufacturer, some suggesting 12,500 years ago. However, it's critical to state these findings have not been independently verified. Chain of custody and methodology remain unclear, and carbon dating results can be affected by contamination. At this stage, these claims remain unconfirmed. Next, let's look at the surface markings and AI interpretation. Another key aspect of the Buga Sphere is the presence of structured markings. These have been described as geometric patterns, symbolic or language-like sequences, repeating non-random structures. Some groups have applied AI-based pattern recognition to these markings, suggesting the symbols may represent a structured system, possible encoded information, and characteristics consistent with design communication. However, no verified translation exists that I'm aware of. No peer-reviewed validation has been established. AI systems can detect patterns even in random data. So while intriguing, these interpretations remain speculative. Reported interaction with sound with the Sanskrit claim. There is an additional claim circulating in relation to the Buga Sphere that requires careful handling. Viral footage has emerged suggesting the object may respond to sound, specifically Sanskrit chants. Observers claim that when certain vocal frequencies are directed toward the sphere, it produces vibrations or physical reactions. At present, these claims are unverified, based on viral video evidence, and not supported by controlled or repeatable testing. There is no confirmed evidence that the object specifically responds to Sanskrit as a language. However, from an intelligence perspective, the value lies not in the claim itself, but in the type of behavior being suggested. Stripped of its cultural framing, the core idea becomes the object may be responsive to external input. And if an object is responsive, it is not passive, it is interactive. This is where the comparison to Billy Meier becomes relevant again, because Meier's telemetry spheres were not described as inert devices. They were functioning systems designed to receive environmental input, capture data, and transmit information to a central craft. So whether the trigger is sound, frequency, electromagnetic signals, or another unknown input. The key question is not whether the Sanskrit claim is accurate. The question is, are these spheres reacting or sensing? Now we return to the broader comparison. We now have Billy Meier in the 1970s describing spherical devices used for real-time surveillance and data transmission within a larger system. And if we look at the modern case of the Buga Sphere, we have a physical or reported object exhibiting controlled movement, unusual material claims, which is not yet verified, structured markings, and potential responsiveness to external stimuli. There's no confirmed link between these cases, but from an intelligence standpoint, the overlap exists in three key areas. Number one, the object type. It's spherical, controlled aerial objects. Number two, functional hypothesis. Meier suggesting it's a telemetry and surveillance system, with a Buga potential sensor or data collection platform, which has been inferred. Three, system architecture. Meier described a network system, and modern analysis suggests distributed operational nodes. This aligns closely with current human technology. We already deploy reconnaissance drones, forward sensor systems, and real-time data relay platforms. These are not isolated, they are part of integrated networks. If we apply this model to UAP observations, the interpretation shifts from what is that object to what system is that object part of. Now, consider the implications. If, and this remains conditional, the Buga Sphere is engineered, contains structured design, exhibits controlled behavior, and responds to external input, then it is not random. It is functional technology. And functional technology has purpose. That purpose could include surveillance, environmental monitoring, signal relay, data collection, all consistent with the concept of telemetry spheres. To summarize this episode's intelligence assessment, Billy Meier introduced the concept of spherical telemetry devices decades ago. The Buga Sphere presents a modern case with similar structural characteristics. Claims of carbon-dated materials and AI-interpreted symbols remain unverified. Viral reports suggest possible interaction with sound, but lack scientific validation. The strongest alignment between cases is not origin, but function. These objects may represent nodes within a larger system rather than isolated craft. This does not confirm extraterrestrial technology. It does not validate Meier's claims, but it does sharpen the question from what are we seeing to what is operating behind what we're seeing. This has been UFO to UAP, the Disclosure Report. I'm Matt Tones. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, share, and tell your mum about our episode.